Well, according to the information we've got there for people to see, $14 million. $14 million came to Christopher Wray by way of his firm, King and Spalding, representing that multi-billion-dollar CCP company called HNA, right? 100% owned by a former CCP vice chair. $14 million before he became the director of the FBI. What could possibly be wrong with that?
Well, the FBI's job should really protect the American people. But now, in yesterday's testimony, we know the FBI helped cover up the biggest election interference by a foreign adversary. And the FBI played an instrumental role not only in covering up the CCP's election interference with the U.S., one of the America's most important U.S. election, but also persecuted the American citizen for exercising their constitutional rights to resist the foreign interference. So this is what we have learned from yesterday's hearing. Very, very terrifying.
I also want to hear from, we've got a little clip here from Miles Guo, who remains in jail today. He's been jailed for months now on charges that he, defrauded investors and so forth. You know, the FTX guy, he can defraud investors of billions of dollars and walk free on the streets. Not Miles. They've got him locked up. And here's what he had to say prior to going to jail about where a lot of this money flows. I'd like to share it with the folks. Here it is.
What's the legal fee of a Chinese state-owned enterprise around the world, including the top 10 banks in China and all the listed companies in China? Do you know how much they spend on American legal fees annually for assets of over $1 trillion? Those American lawyers get about $30 billion in legal fees from the CCP every year. The CCP controls all of these U.S. law firms. Top officials from DOJ or NASDAQ are leaving their positions for big law firms. These former DOJ officials will later likely return to DOJ after they got enriched from their private practices with CCP companies. These U.S. law firms will provide full legal services and protections for CCP kleptocrats from the cradle to the grave, from starting a business, conducting IPO, managing assets, resolving disputes to declaring bankruptcy, seeking bankruptcy protection, and managing as a trustee. That's why U.S. lawyers are the perfect surrogates for CCP to infiltrate the U.S. Department of Justice.
There it is, $30 billion, just like you said, Nicole. And part of that was an attorney by the name of Christopher Wray, correct?
Well, this is exactly how the CCP has weaponized the U.S. justice system through the lawyers, through the system actors, because these people had previously been working in the international law firm doing business in China. They had been enriched by the CCP, and then they got named to be the federal judges, to be federal prosecutors, and even to be the FBI director. And this is exactly why the American people have lost their confidence and trust in the criminal justice system. According to the 2022 Gallup survey among the American people, 86% of the American people have lost their trust and confidence in the justice system because the CCP is controlling this country's justice system. And this is the reason why Miles Guo has been kept in federal prison without bail. And this is the reason why we're asking the Congress to bring Miles Guo to testify. Let him name the names and let him tell the American people the very truth that the American people deserve to know, because we need to know the truth about what happened to the election interference in 2020 and how did the CCP weaponize the DOJ and the FBI, and how did the CCP have launched an unrestricted lawfare against the U.S. Rule of law and justice system? These are all the very important questions for all the American people to know.